Good afternoon and welcome to today's news, Younib TV at 1. My name is Elias, Muchina, and before we start our news today, let us start with the headlines. Headlights zinanikuta. Eh?
The party, by the time, I don't think the changes and the reorganization and the revitalizing of the party has got to do with, any misconduct or any performance-related issue. We are strengthening ourselves. In fact, our Secretary General is moving to newer, more demanding, expansive responsibilities.
To understand, you have a contract, you have signed a contract. Why not meet the obligation within the as per the contract timelines and specifications? Is it this the claimant failing or delaying to submit documents, or is it exchequer issues to pay for the insurance? What is the major cause for this?
The insurance, most of the time, is not funded because of exchequer issues.
Our main constraint is actually premium. For us to be able to run efficiently, you pay, you get the full service.
Every school, we are sending 2 sets of books for every learning area so that we can enhance variety. If a school has 100 learners, for example, that school will get 60% of the books from one publisher and 40% of the books from another publisher, so that in senior school we start enhancing particularly that competency of communication.
And today we'll be releasing the actual numbers of all the students who
Welcome. President William Ruto instructed all students to report to their respective senior schools by today morning, irrespective of whether they have settled their school fees or possess the necessary school uniforms. While addressing an audience in Meru County during the distribution of funds under the Nyota Business Support Program, President Ruto stated that the government has allocated 44 billion shillings in capitation at the beginning of this year, ensuring that schools have sufficient resources to accommodate the incoming learners.
That no child should remain at home because they do not have school fees. Every child, wawe na school fees, wasiwe na school fees. Wawe na uniform, wasiwe na uniform. Waende shuleni tomorrow morning. Na mimi nataka chiefs, na assistant chiefs, na members of provincial administration. Every child in Kenya must report to school tomorrow because we have provided the money to teach all our children. Tumetuma pesa bilioni 44 kusomesha watoto wetu. In any case, there is sufficient money for teachers, for our children to be taught in the first term. Ya JSS, hiyo uniform ya JSS anaweza kwenda kutumia kwa secondary school, akingojea mzazi wako apate pesa ya kununua uniform ya secondary school. Mtoto wa Kenya asibaki nyumbani kwa sababu ya uniform.
Senior school principals shall optimize the use of the capitation funds that were disbursed to schools on the 2nd of January 2026, while permitting parents and guardians the necessary flexibility in paying their house. Any reports of non-compliance with the foregoing directives shall be made to the nearest education office or national government.
Still on matters education, students in grade 10 are anticipated to commence their studies next week, as the Ministry of Education has announced plans to provide books to schools nationwide. The Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development and the ministry have stated the publishers have already printed and distributed more than 50% of the educational materials. The printing and distribution of the books had faced delays due to outstanding debts owed to the publishers.
Every school, we are sending 2 sets of books for every learning area so that we can enhance variety. If a school has 100 learners, for example, that school will get 60% of the books from one publisher and 40% of the books from another publisher, so that in senior school we start enhancing particularly that competency of communication.
And today we'll be releasing the actual numbers of all the students who have actually been admitted to our senior schools across the country, which therefore means that studying in these institutions will start in earnest from next week, which requires that we need to ensure that they have materials in school to allow the teachers to be able to start their curriculum, their training, and their teaching of our students.
We believe that the other balance will be coming soon, because we need to first distribute, take the delivery notes to KICD, and then get the remaining 60% for grade 10. We believe that you will continue to support us in terms of timely payment of our dues.
And because we've shown commitment and goodwill in releasing the 5.6 billion, there is no reason for the publishers, the printers, to doubt that the government is going to meet its obligation in paying the pending bill of 4.4 billion, so that this partnership.
On matters politics, Jeremiah Kioni has been designated as one of the deputy party leaders of the Jubilee Party in the light of recent modification within the party. The changes which were revealed yesterday saw Kioni, the previous Secretary General, appointed to this role. He will oversee mobilization efforts, lead negotiation on behalf of the party, and manage legal services. Kioni will work alongside Fred Matiang'i, who also occupies the deputy party leader role and serves as the party's candidates for the 2027 elections.
The party, by the time, I don't think the changes and the reorganization and the revitalizing of the party has got to do with, any misconduct or any performance-related issue. We are strengthening ourselves. In fact, our Secretary General is moving to newer, more demanding, expansive responsibilities.
I always believed in Jubilee. I believed in what the track record, and I believed that it can attract people who can be able to offer alternatives to this country.
Everybody knows that the Honorable Mheshimiwa Mo Kenyatta represents the Duke of Edinburgh in the presidential award scheme. He has been in those award schemes in Uganda, in West Africa, in many others before. So going to this one, how does it make a difference? And then it becomes the basis of your political gossip. If they're not having sleepless nights, it's because they are negligent, even of their own fate. Because they are negligent of the fate of the country.
Our presidential candidate, I am ready to work with you. Thank you. To work with you every corner of this country and to sell your agenda.
The government has guaranteed Kenyans that it is tirelessly working to facilitate the repatriation of those affected by the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Dr. Korir Sing'oei, the Principal Secretary for Foreign Affairs, states that the Secretary for Foreign Affairs in Kenyan government is in discussion to secure the release of Kenyans who have been detained by the Ukraine government as prisoners of war. Additionally, Sing'oei pointed out that the crisis is linked to illegal recruitment network that exploit vulnerable Kenyans with deceit promises of job opportunities overseas.
Tuliongea na yeye, alikuwa ndani huko Ukraine, ndio alikuwa anafanya kazi. Walikuwa nalala mahali imechimbwa ile ya chini, bunkers. Ndio walichimba wakajenga huko chini ya ardhi.
Wasiwasi wangu ni venye tumesikia huko venye vita inaendelea, kasi yenye alikuwa ameambiwa anaenda sio anafanya. Hatumpati na simu kama kwa mwezi.
We are not in any way aiding any group that is recruiting Kenyans to serve on the part of any party to this conflict. Those who have unfortunately found themselves, in the battlefield and are facing difficulty, a number of them have come to our missions, have reached out to our mission in Moscow. And I have, information that 28 of them have been repatriated back since December last year. Some of them could have lost their lives because they have not been able to communicate with their parents, communicate with their relatives, and therefore it is presumed that perhaps they may have lost their lives. Unfortunately, we do not have the infrastructure to be able to determine those numbers, because in the first instance we were not. In order to stave off further recruitment, further irregular recruitment being undertaken here, we are working closely with the Russian Federation mission in Nairobi. They have given us the assurance that their government does not support this either, particularly the idea that some of them are being irregularly recruited. Respect to Kenyans who have been captured by the government of Ukraine and are being held as prisoners of war. We are in the process of negotiating their release.
The National Police Service is currently facing security regarding the postponed transfer of funds to insurance company for the provision of group life insurance and work injury benefits for police officers who have been killed or injured while performing their duties. During a contentious session before the Public Accounts Committee of the National Assembly, the leadership of the National Police Services struggled to justify why the families of police officers who lose their lives in the line of duty must endure a wait of 3 years to obtain their compensation.
I want to understand, you have a contract, you have signed a contract. Why not meet the obligation within as per the contract timelines and specifications? Is it this the claimant failing or delaying to submit documents, or is it exchequer issues to pay for the insurance? What is the major cause for this?
The insurance, most of the time, is not funded because of exchequer issues.
Our main constraint is actually premium. For us to be able to run efficiently, you pay, you get the full service.
I'm very sure. Even the next one you will pay when we summon, and we will be summoning and we will help the accounting officer to make sure that you pay.
In the course of the original contract and the retendering, we are talking of a difference of how much? Is that 73 million? Is it fair to say that the taxpayer lost 73 million on this project?
There was no loss of funds. The increment was caused by the change of scope of work. The scope increased in little.
On motorsport, the national under-20 women's team known as the Rising Starlets is set to compete against Tanzania early next month in a two-legged third round of the under-20 FIFA World Cup Africa qualifiers. The original roster of 60 players has been trimmed down to 32 as the team gears up to host Tanzania in their first leg on February 7th at the Ulinzi Sports Complex in Nairobi. The second leg will take place a week later at the Azam Complex near Dar es Salaam.
Kocha anatupush kila time, anatukumbusha that task yenye tuko nayo haitakuwa rahisi. So ni sisi tujipush na to believe in ourselves, to believe kwa ile kenye amekuwa kitufunza na to implement kwa uwanja positively. Yeah, so for me, na feel preparation yangu iko sawa na niko ready to face the task.
We have to work on the four components of football, which are technical, tactical, physical, and mental, of course. So hakuna yenye inacha ingine. So the four of them has to play a very big role. So lazima tuwakie the four of them so that to get a complete team, a complete players who is ready to compete.
And before we end our bulletin, we must see the news from Malawi. Government cites smuggling prevention region price alignment as key justification for fuel price hike. Malawi's Minister of Energy and Mining, Dr. Jean Matanga, has defended the recent fuel price increase, describing them as a necessary measure to curb fuel smuggling and safeguard Malawi's limited foreign exchange.
Dr. Matanga noted that the fixed fuel pricing regime introduced in 2023 was commercially unsustainable, resulting in significant losses for fuel importers, depletion of strategic fuel reserves in July 2024, and reduced capacity to meet critical levies for road maintenance and rural electrification. She acknowledged that the new prices may bring short-term hardship, but stressed that their adjustments are crucial to avoid severe fuel shortages and wider economic disruption, similar to what the country experienced under the previous pricing system. On his part, Minister of Finance Joseph Mwanamveka said the recent upward adjustment of fuel prices will enable the government to implement development projects more effectively. Mwanamveka added that the government is working tirelessly to stabilize the kwacha, while the Competition and Fair Trading Commission, CFTC, will be on the ground to ensure that commodity prices are not increased unrealistically.
What we want to do is to stabilize the economy and make sure that there is forex in the banks, and also that people don't go to the black market, they go to the banks. When we do that, I can assure you the prices of goods and services will come down. We have discussed with our cooperative partners to increase cash transfer, those that we normally give to those that are in need. We have agreed to increase the number of beneficiaries. We have also agreed in terms of the amount they give to each beneficiary. In addition to that, we also want to push interest rates down so that people are able to borrow not only from NIF and also from microfinance institutions, even from the banks.
Also present was Minister of Transport and Public Works Jabi Mahango, who described the condition of most roads in the country as pathetic. According to Mahango, the situation has been largely caused by prolonged low fuel prices and indecisiveness by the previous administration, which resulted in inadequate funding for road maintenance due to the non-remittance of levies by the Malawi Energy Regulatory Authority, MERA. Mahango has since assured that the current administration is committed to ensuring that roads across the country are properly maintained and kept in good condition. For Younib TV in Malawi, this is Tandiwe Mzumara.
And that story from Malawi brings us to the end of our bulletins today. My name is Elias. Muchina, do have yourself a wonderful day. Goodbye.
Younib TV, faith, inspiration, unity.